Jesus Christ, how the fuck do people record these things? Surely there's got to be an easier way. Silent Hill Book of Memories is a spin-off game in the Silent Hill series of video games released in 2012 by WayForward Technologies and Konami Digital Entertainment. The game is very notorious for deviating from the traditional survival horror gameplay that made Silent Hill what it is today in favour of a more action hack-and-slash approach, with RPG elements very similar to that of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. But hey, WayForward were the folks who brought us games like Shantae and DuckTales Remastered, despite that one coming out a year later. Surely this game's going to be fun, right? Well, I guess we're going to have to explore this game a little bit more to find out. First things first, you're going to have to make a character. Now, this character is pretty much going to be your self-insert for this game. It's also going to sort of make him stand out, make him or her more unique. So that way, you can experience the game with your friends because the game has got co-op. Unfortunately, because, well, I don't have any friends who are interested in this game, let alone want to play it with me, well, this review's going to probably just cover single player. Now, I've seen the official art for this game, and after playing around in the character creation, I had found that my guy looks suspiciously like some dude from Fate Stay Night, so I'll name him appropriately. Now, the story goes that your self-insert receives a package from a mysterious postman. Now, for those of you who have played Silent Hill Downpour, that's Howard Blackwood. He was also, if I remember correctly, in a Silent Hill comic as well. And after delivering the package, you open it up to find that the package contains the aforementioned Book of Memories. Your character goes through the book and finds that it's got a detailed description of his or her life up until this point, and under unknown circumstances and plot devices, your character finds out that he or she can rewrite some of the memories in this book to paint you in a more favourable light, or to sort of, well, take care of people. And from here, the dungeon crawling begins. Each area is split into 3 levels with a boss fight at the end of the 3rd level. Each level also represents an element, as well as the person whose destiny I'm about to change. So in this case, the first world, the fire world, involves your co-worker Derek. Now, Derek managed to get a promotion at the place you guys are working at. Now, you want that promotion, and what you're going to do in this level will determine whether it's going to get that promotion in a positive or a negative way. Notes scattered around the level sort of give you an indicator of whether you're going towards the light side or the blood side. And as you would have probably guessed by now, the light side means that you're going to get a more positive ending, and the blood side means you're going to get a more negative one. Now, to pass the level, you also need to get puzzle pieces which are scattered across the level, as well as a note explaining how to solve the puzzle. And of course, all the puzzle pieces are guarded by monsters. So you can be fighting anything from nurses to much more formidable enemies such as the Butcher from Silent Hill Origins, to the Red Pyramid from Silent Hill 2, or Pyramid Head, or even the Bogeyman from Silent Hill Homecoming. Nevertheless, once you get all the puzzle pieces, you just got to read the clue and basically put the puzzle pieces in place so you can get to the next level and gain a monetary reward, which is in the form of memory residue, which is basically the currency in this game, so you can buy new things such as weapons or necessities to help you on your way. So we better move along, and we'll start things off with the good. Now, just to remind me that I'm in a Silent Hill game, I like a number of the nods it makes to previous games in the series, such as the fight with the Butcher and Red Pyramid, as well as minor ones such as escorting Mira, who, for those who are familiar with Silent Hill, is seen in a number of the UFO endings. Combat in general I kind of enjoyed as well, maybe because it sort of reminds me of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance as well as Champions of Noraf, and those were games I used to play for absolute hours on the PlayStation 2. The boss fights I found were pretty fun too. It's a nice change of pace from all those monotonous monsters that I've been killing for the past 3 zones, even if some of them were stupidly easy. Or a little bit trickier. I really do like how the bosses aren't sort of copy-paste or share the same sort of fault that the monsters have, just being same thing, different colour, or has the ability to explode when killed. But sadly, the Water Guardian and other bosses simply couldn't drown out the bad. Some of these puzzles really annoy me. You know, you have to go through each of these zones trying to find 5 or 6 puzzle pieces and putting your life on the line, and at risk of certain death, and a clue just for it to give you a very sort of vague idea of where you need to put these things. If you have the patience, you can just sit there and just reorganize all the pieces until you get it right, or at the cost of a little bit of memory residue, so at the cost of a little bit of your reward, you can flip the switch, which is what I will do now, just to have it tell you which pieces you've got in the right place as well as which pieces you've got in the wrong place. Some of these clues are really vague as well, so all you really need to do is just put all the puzzle pieces in the spots and just rearrange them until you get it right. There's absolutely no consequence to it because you're not being timed, and all you need to do is just wait until you get the right order and pass level. There's really no point to having the hint switch there if you can just brute force everything. Now, as much as I like the alignment system, it's also just as vague as the puzzle clues can be. 9 times out of 10, every time you enter a boss fight, you have absolutely no idea how it's going to turn out, whether you got the light ending or the blood ending. Or better yet, you don't get either of the endings and you actually get a neutral one. Some of the notes that you pick up throughout the levels give you an indication about whether the world's going to a light or a blood shift, but sometimes the notes are very vague in what you need to do in order to achieve the light or blood shift. You can also find mysterious rooms, in which your actions in those rooms can either give you a light, a blood, or a neutral shift. I haven't really seen the real point to these. They have no bearing on the situation that you're in right now, and only serve to increase or decrease your karma meter at the top right. These rooms don't seem to relate to what you're doing, and only more or less serve a purpose of either increasing your blood or your light karma. And while we're here, the karma bar at the top right corner of the screen doesn't give you any sort of indication about whether the outcome of the world's going to be a light ending or a blood ending. So as you can see, my karma bar is near full light, but I still get the blood ending for this level. Or in this case where it's near neutral and I still get the light ending for this level. The karma bar's only purpose is to more or less give you special abilities depending on whether you're light aligned or blood aligned. Now, game mechanics aside, what relation does this game actually have with Silent Hill? You know, I like the cameo characters and the monsters being from Silent Hill and all, but the only thing related to Silent Hill that you get throughout the story is this book. Your character has never been to Silent Hill, nor has any connections to anyone in Silent Hill. Turns out that Howard Blackwood just gave a book to a random stranger. But I think I've rambled enough, so let's move right on to The Ugly. Graphically, this game doesn't look overly impressive. I think the environment looks very well done, especially when capturing the essence of the zones. Now, I'll go a little bit more in depth with the monsters. So basically I found that the monsters are quite same-ish as you go along. With every new world they introduce you a new monster for you to fight, and they give you different variations of all the old monsters. So in Woodworld I'm pretty much having to take on the Tremors, the Mothers and Needlers. And once I go into Light World or even Water World, I might have to fight all those monsters again, but the difference is they may have special effects, like they could be corrosive and make my weapon durability drop a lot faster, or they could be explosive and explode when killed. Visually, characters and certain monsters look pretty mediocre, because I know the Vita can do a lot better than this. It's just that characters look bland and uninspiring, and the monsters don't really feel that threatening. The only monsters, in my opinion, that seem remotely threatening tend to be either the bosses, or some of the bosses that you would have fought against in previous Silent Hill games, such as the Butcher or Red Pyramid. Honestly, my opinion on this game is actually quite mixed. I can certainly see why a lot of the Silent Hill community don't acknowledge or shun this game, purely based on negative merits. but what I can also see is a game that with enough polish could essentially be a lot better than what it is right now. But I don't necessarily think it really needs the Silent Hill name in order to become a better game. And as much as I like the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance Champions of Norab style of gameplay, I just feel that they didn't need to use the Silent Hill name in order to do this. Silent Hill is already well established as a survival horror series for the most part, and while this game does achieve it to some degree, I think that it wasn't the sort of ideal game that a lot of people in the Silent Hill community were looking for. But I'll admit it, there were some times in this game where I did have a little bit of fun. But I have certainly played much better Silent Hill spin-off games. Long story short, this game isn't exactly great, but I also don't think it deserves a lot of the hate and flack that a lot of people have been giving it. So I'm going to have to give this game bundled sticks out of 10. Don't ask me why, but this game gets bundled sticks out of 10. So if you happen to be a fan of the Dark Alliance / Champions series, and you also happen to like Silent Hill, feel free to pick up this game, and you too could be punching corrosive insane cancer. And with that, I leave you guys with this journalistic review on Silent Hill, Book of Memories.